What's going on, Hokie Nation? Welcome into this week's edition of the Triumph Spotlight. Our guest today, redshirt freshman guard on the Virginia Tech women's basketball team, Carleigh Wenzel. After redshirting during the Final Four run a season ago, the Hokies add an elite shooter to the depth at the guard position for the upcoming campaign. Carleigh Wenzel, C-Dubs as they call her, joins us next on this week's Triumph Spotlight. As always, Hokies fans, today's show is brought to you by Triumph NIL. The Triumph Digital Network is a fully integrated portal featuring individual channels for Carleigh Wenzel and all your favorite Hokie athletes. Visit triumphnil.com for exclusive engagement, merchandise, and content opportunities, as well as subscriptions. Well, I think some introductions are in order. As always, I'm your host, Giovanni Heater, joined alongside Nick Brown on set today. Will Stewart producing behind the scenes, and of course, Carleigh Wenzel herself. Carleigh, thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, well, take us back. Let's go all the way back. Let's talk about your recruiting process a little bit. Why Virginia Tech?
I feel like going through the process as being from Texas, it's a pretty large state. And I feel like coming to either side of the coast, people are very hesitant to recruit Texas kids just because it's not likely that we're going to leave because of all the opportunities you have in Texas. So whenever we were on the phone and I was on the phone with Tech, I had made it clear I was willing to leave the States. It wasn't like something I wanted to do, was just stay in Texas. And just talking to Coach Brooks and everything, I feel like he's the one head coach that I really built the closest relationship with. And I feel like that's not something that is really emphasized on unless it's a big recruit that like you want within the program. So I feel like he really made an emphasis on everything that he wanted from me and with me with the program and everything like that. So I feel like that's what really drew me. And when it came down to the final decision, it was Coach Brooks or any other coach. And I obviously chose Coach Brooks.
Well, you come in 44th ranked recruit in the nation, and then you get to Blacksburg. Coach Brooks sits you down and asks you to redshirt for the season. What went into that decision process for you and Coach Brooks?
Well, it definitely wasn't anything that was like thrown in when he was recruiting me. It wasn't like, hey, you're going to redshirt first year. It was kind of something that just got brought up last minute. And obviously we're a very mature, older team last year. So it was something that it wasn't needed, but it was a really good opportunity for myself. So that night when he had sat me down and we discussed it and everything, I had went home and I called my parents. And obviously, like, for me, that's a hard decision to make. So I'm crying, all that. And my parents are like, well, why? Why would you do it, this and that? And I was like, well, hold on, let me go talk to my brother. Because my brother redshirted at his first year as a freshman at Utah. So I called my brother, and first thing he said was like, why wouldn't you do it? And I was like, okay, well, why are you so like, yeah, do it? And everybody else is like, why? And so he was like, it's like such a good opportunity. Like, y'all are old. You have people to learn from. It's not like he's throwing you to the curb. But like, he's already told you like y'all can get workouts and everything like that. So I decided to take it. And the one thing he told me was, don't just sit back. Don't sit back and be like, oh, I'm not playing, so I'm not going to work out, or I'm not going to be locked in a game. So although I was at the end of the bench every game, like I was very much locked in on everything we were doing, all the plays, all the defensive sets. Like, you got to call that out for your girls as they're coming. So things like that, I feel like I definitely grew on and off the court in all aspects.
You know, I find it really interesting. We just had Mike Young in here last week. David and Chris talked to him, and he talked about that with Patrick Wessler, how the opportunity to really get so much better if you truly focus on it, and it takes the pressure off of like, hey, you don't have to worry about what your stat line is or how many minutes you're going to get on game day. You can really just focus on you in the gym, go to class, and then, be ready for the next season. So that's really, really cool. Want to go back to your brother a little bit. What is that bond like with your bro?
We were definitely really close growing up. Obviously, both basketball, gym rats, things like that. So going to the gym all the time together. The only thing that really hurt me as a sister was how far he went. Like when your older brother goes to college, it's like you want to be able to see like the experience he goes through. And so seeing him go so far, I was like, why'd you like go that far? Like, I'm not going to be able to see anything other than what's on TV. But seeing him do that, that's really what drew me to don't stay in Texas. like take the opportunity you have, because I saw how much he grew out of it. And then even transferring, he ended up at Wyoming, which is just as far as Utah. And so I was like, dude. So then I took my opportunity, and now we're on complete opposite sides of the states, but we're definitely just as close as we were when we were back home living together.
Both of your parents played collegiate basketball. What's it like growing up in a basketball home where that's kind of the center of the family?
It was hard. It was really competitive. There were a lot of times where my mom would bring up her stats or my dad would bring up his stats, and we're like, dude, what are y'all like? Why are y'all even bringing that up? But it was a very competitive family. Like in anything we did, we were competing with each other. And I'd say the hardest, not even hardest, like one thing that really brought us together was being able to just, when all things are going wrong in whatever aspect we're doing, we could always go to the gym, and that would be like our kind of safe place and all that kind of stuff. So my dad would always work us out, and then we'd come home to my mom, making dinner, things like that. But my mom was always in the gym with us as well, just getting on to us. And I think it really grew us as people.
Well, who was better, your mom or your dad?
Oof. Bobby, I'm sorry. I'm going to go with my mom. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but I think my mom was much more competitive. Like, I know a lot of stories with her, like, getting into it with people. And she's from Austin, which is, like, she's tough. She's really tough. So I'm going to go with my mom.
Interesting.
But, Dad, I'm sorry.
Well, it feels like the conversation last year, like every time it was like, oh, there's this Carleigh Wenzel girl, she's redshirting, and we were all like, dude, she's got 4 more years after this. Like, this team's already loaded, and now she's got 4 more after this. How huge is that for you to, take that opportunity with the redshirt? Now you got 4 more if you want it.
Mm-hmm. That was definitely, when I did take it, a lot of questions were thrown up, like, are you going to transfer? I was like, no, like, why would I? Like, I'm not going to put my time and energy into this place. Like, obviously, Coach Brooks is trying to build with me, and it's not a year without me. It's 4 more, like an extra with me type of thing. So I feel like I definitely have a lot of progress that has been made, but I also have a lot that I can still prove. And I think I'm in the perfect position for that. I'm behind Georgia Amore, which is obviously my position, and I feel like I can learn a lot from her. And hopefully another year after this, but this year, obviously, can learn a lot and grow as a person and player still.
You got some in-game experience overseas in Greece. First off, how fun was the trip? And then second off, how nice was it to finally get some competition against people that you're not familiar with?
Greece was amazing. That was one place I always want to go. Like, you see the pictures all over Twitter. It's like Greece, and I'm like, oh, I need to go there. It was beautiful. It was really nice. It was definitely not what I expected. I don't know what to expect going in, but it wasn't like, there's nothing I saw and was like, oh yeah, I knew this was gonna like be the way it was. And the boat ride was like my favorite thing, just going across the ocean and things like that. I'm not like a swimmer, but I jumped off of the boat with Coach Brooks, and I was like, that's not my favorite thing to do. But competition was great. I was a little nervous going in just because I haven't played in like so long. I didn't know what to expect. But it definitely was, I don't know what the word is, like relaxing, being able to go in and understand that I still had it. Like, obviously I'm not where I want to be, but not playing in a year, I didn't know like how I was going to be, and like being able to still score. Obviously there's things like I need to work on still, but being able to see myself put the ball in the basket or like make passes that I know I can make and that I've made before, it was like relieving to be able to do that and still have it, some type of rhythm.
Well, now Hokie Nation finally gets to see you play, right? Castle Coliseum, it's coming up just about, 2-3 weeks away at this point. What kind of a hooper are they getting in Carleigh Wenzel?
I'm trying to be very energetic. I'm not the most energetic because when my mind is going, I'm very like trying to be locked in on every little thing. But definitely a cheerleader for my teammates. I want to put people in the right positions to score. I want them to succeed more than I want to succeed myself. And I feel like with that, we're going to be really good just playing for each other. So I feel like that's something that Castle and Hokie Nation can look forward to seeing in me as someone that's going to put it all out there for my teammates.
Well, there's not many 6-foot point guards out there in collegiate basketball. I'm 5'7". I'm about Georgia Amore's height. You tower over me. So how does your length give you an advantage in collegiate basketball being in your natural position?
It's definitely not something you see every day. You don't go in and see a 6-foot point guard. Even our other point guards and guards, like I'm kind of like the tallest one out there outside of Matilda and Kayla. So being able to be in that position, I feel like it's going to cause a lot of trouble for other teams, but Also, like, I need to learn how to use my body the right way. Georgia used her body, like, amazing. And I think that's something I can really watch this year. And just being able to play behind her is something I can really grow on. Just seeing how she really uses her body. And there's something I'm working on right now is just not eyeing down my passes. And getting the ball into Liz in a certain way. And I feel like my length is something that I can really use as an advantage over smaller defenders, because I know not everybody that's going to be guarding me is going to be my height.
You've been kind of advertised as a sharpshooter right here. That's what Coach Brooks kind of quoted you as coming in. You know, how has your game evolved since you've gotten here with that redshirt year? And are you still that sharpshooter? You see yourself more as a facilitator, a scorer? What's kind of the game?
I definitely coming in, I wanted to put some weight on. I'm still trying to put some weight on, and it is so hard. But that's something I'm really working towards, so I can just build muscle and be a stronger facilitator and everything like that. We changed my shot a little bit, so it's not where I want it to be, but we're getting there. I think you'll see a lot. I'm not really going to be looking for myself a lot this year. I think that's not really the role I need to be playing. I have great people around me. So being a facilitator is something that I'm really working on right now, and I think that'll be something that is shown throughout the games this year.
Do you prefer to drive into the paint, or do you prefer to step back and shoot the three?
If Liz Kitley is in the paint, I prefer to stay back. But if Liz Kitley is not in the paint, then I'll prefer to go in and get layups. But something I think is an advantage of mine is my mid-range pull-up.
Okay.
Well, let's kind of move there, right? You brought up Liz. You brought up Georgia. How about Kayla as well? How much confidence does it give you and the rest of the team when you know, hey, those girls are on the floor around you. You get to play with those girls and just find how the pieces all fit together. How much confidence does it bring out of you?
It's definitely a relief knowing that even if I'm not at my best, there's people that are going to be at their best. There's people I can rely on, and obviously that's not something that every team has, is 3 people that can be relied on throughout the whole game in different positions. So I know Kayla's always going to knock it down regardless of where she's at. She's been shooting from the logo in practice. So I'm going to just give that to her. Every time she's open, she's getting the ball and it's going in. And that's going for Georgia and Liz as well. I know they both got it.
Well, you guys went to the Final Four. You were a redshirt, so obviously you didn't play. That's a lot of expectations coming into this year. How are you guys going to handle that? And how do you personally try to step up the team to get to that next step?
I think going through last year, I saw what it took. Obviously, we're a lot younger now than we are, but we're definitely trying to hold the same standard. We want to go back. We want to win a national championship, and that's something that wasn't even brought up a couple years ago here at Tech. So now that it's even brought in conversation after practice, like, we know what it takes and we know what our goals are. So we definitely are bringing the freshmen along. And even myself, like, I haven't played. Although I went through the process, like, I saw everything unfold, like, right in front of me. Georgia and Kayla still hold me to a higher standard than anybody else because they know, like, that I'm there and that I can be there. I'd say as for this year, we definitely are a different team, but we still are who, like, it's not that big of a different team. But we understand it's going to be game by game. Like, people are coming from us. We're no longer hunting. We're the hunted. So that's something we got to know coming into every game.
How about some of those newcomers? What do the newcomers bring to the table for this team?
They compete. They are going to compete regardless of who it is. Mac will guard Georgia and be going at her. They don't care who's in front of them, and I think that's something that not every freshman class has. And I think our freshman class is extremely talented in all aspects. Clara, Samaya, Mac, Karis, Gabby even. No matter who they're going against, they're always going to compete and go 100%.
Well, you got a stacked schedule. Holy cow, you guys faced 2 out of the 3 other teams in the Final Four. Who sticks out on the schedule? And I know the obvious one is to say those 2, but what other games are you guys really excited for?
I'm most excited for Cayman Islands. I feel like that's going to be where we can kind of start making our mark and dent into people. And I feel like early in the season, whatever the games are, that's not going to be who we are towards the end of the year. So I feel like the earliest games, although we're playing 2 of the biggest teams, we're also one of the biggest teams. So we need to understand that going in and not just be like, oh, this is a team that's not so high up. Still going in and taking like everybody at the same level is something that we really need to focus on. But I feel like Cayman Islands is going to be where we need to, like, understand where we're at. We can't just be struggling all preseason. I don't think we will be, but
Set the tone.
Look at that.
Yes.
See, she's like, we can't even talk about ACC play
Yeah,
yet, right? We're focused on
It's
the
the coach
non-con.
talk. Every
Yeah, I
player you
know.
bring in here, they don't want to. Nobody wants to.
Kenny
point to a
teaches
game.
them well, right?
Yeah, always
No
do.
doubt. He's probably the best coach talker there is. Not even
yeah.
coach talker, just talker.
Yeah.
As far as media goes, like he is one of the
That's a smooth man.
one
right
of the
there.
best coaches up there. Yeah, he's got a swagger for sure. How excited are you to lace him up for the first time in Castle Coliseum?
I'm extremely excited, especially coming off last year. I know it's going to be packed house every game. And I feel like we have a lot to bring, and I know there's a lot that Hokie Nation wants to see. So I feel like we are in the exact spot to just show off what we've been working on in our new team. And I am extremely excited for Hokie Nation to get to see me.
All righty. So before we dive into some fun questions, what has this relationship with Triumph been like for you, and how are you navigating the new NIL space?
It's definitely a new experience. I guess a lot of us have never really gone through the NIL process since it's so new. So being able to be connected, one, for things like this, but being able to be out there and in touch with the community and everything is something that I feel like not everybody gets to do. And it's something that whenever you're out there with younger girls who really look up to you, that's like something you won't ever forget. So I'm very appreciative of this opportunity, and I can't wait for 4 more years of it.
Who is Carleigh Wenzel off the court? Throw basketball away. I know basketball is such a big part of your family, but what else do you enjoy off the court?
I'm a sleeper. I sleep a lot. Anything pink cars.
Show the nails.
I did them last night. They're done by myself.
I'm glad I wore pink
But
today then.
yeah, pink is like my color. I love everything pink. My dream car is a pink Mustang.
Okay.
So
So did you
after
see the
college
Barbie
and
movie?
everything- I did. I wasn't a fan, to be honest.
What?
It was
There was
like,
a lot of pink in the film.
Oh,
Yo, I loved the way everything looked, but the way it was like, hey Barbie, no, there's one Barbie, there's one Ken, like I couldn't do all
Okay,
that,
I
but
gotcha.
I loved like the way everything looked. I was like, yes, pink.
all right. She justified it. I was about to say, I don't stand for the
Yeah.
Barbie slander. Anyway, pre-game playlist. What's that looking like? Have you revamped it this year now that you have to go through the shoot arounds?
I'm in between right now. I'm loving like the Drake, Rod, like cool vibes, but my favorite artist is Dirk, and a lot of people are like, Dirk or Youngboy? No, I mix them. So my playlist right now, pregame, okay, I go like before a shoot around, it's like the Rod, and the Tusi. Oh my God, love Tusi and Drake and stuff, and then pregame after shoot around, that's when you get into like the Dirk, Gunna, Youngboy, all of
Get
that.
amped up a little bit.
Rilo, yep.
There we go. How about your favorite uniform? I think Hokies women's basketball probably has the best set of uniforms in all of athletics, to be honest.
I love them. I love the black ones, but Script is like top 2. I think you can't ever go wrong with Script, but I love the black. I think black is just anything like all black. I'm like,
Didn't they once wear pink? Not
I
while you
tried.
were here. Not while you were here.
It was a while ago.
It was a while ago, right?
Yeah.
For breast cancer, right?
They used to do it every year. Yes.
Okay, yes.
I tried to get Coach Brooks. I was like, please get a pink uniform. Like I would love it, but he's no.
He said no.
He
No.
said
Do more important things.
Yeah.
What was your visit like here, and how many did you take?
So I ended up coming on when we played North Carolina football, and we beat them,
Yes.
and they were ranked.
Wow.
That was my visit.
First game back from COVID too.
Lane was
don't-
rocking that
Yeah,
day.
it was hype, and I was like, oh my gosh! But it was amazing. I got to spend time with obviously the team and everything, but just being on campus that was the second time I was on campus. First time was unofficial, so I was already committed on my visit, and then just going through, seeing everybody, hanging out with the team was amazing. As a high school recruit, like that's something that everybody looks forward to as an official visit. So it was definitely matched what it was supposed to be. So it was amazing.
This is something I was really curious about. In the NCAA tournament, you guys got to go to some really cool different cities and locations. What was the best host city in the NCAA tournament?
I have to say Dallas.
It was home for you.
Yeah,
right?
like I have to say Dallas.
I figured.
But I did love Seattle because we went to the Needle. I'm scared of heights, so I was not like all over it, but it was a good experience. But I'm obviously gonna say Dallas because that's home.
What made it so awesome? Like, what was all the stuff they did for the Final Four that was a little extra that you don't see necessarily in the other rounds?
One, I'm gonna say it was my favorite because I got to see like all my family, all my friends. That's what put it up there. But something that like NCAA did, we had at our hotel we had a like game room. So down, like nobody could get in there obviously, but like when we would go, it was like open all the time. We didn't spend too much time in it because we were so locked in on the games, but, there was like Nintendo Switches, like PlayStations, food everywhere, and like a bunch of like lounge couches. It was amazing.
Sounds pretty sweet. All
Yeah,
right, so
it was great.
what was the best food during the NCAA tournament run? And then I'm going to follow up question. Does it match up to anything in Blacksburg?
I can't dog Blacksburg like that.
Uh-oh.
The food wasn't anything like spectacular. It was kind of like the same as what we always get. Like pregame meal was pretty much the same. I did have Whataburger. My
Okay.
parents brought it to the hotel. I was like, I can't leave without getting Whataburger. So I got Whataburger, which is like, that's obviously like top 2, not 2, and that's not, Blacksburg's not touching that. So I guess you could say it was better, but it's not like for like team stuff, like it was nothing different than what we have for like everyday games.
So what's your best Blacksburg spot then?
I love Olive Garden. Like Olive Garden's like my spot, but that's not a Blacksburg spot.
Wrong answer.
So T-Soul loves black salt, and that's like I never went, and so I went last week, and I really liked it. The girls like Elrod's. I'm all for Elrod's. Like no slander on Elrod's, but that's like not my go-to. So I'll say black salt.
That's a rare answer right there. Nobody has said black salt, and it is very underrated.
never been
Burgers there. Very good.
That's T-Soul is like I was thinking about it one day. I was like, yeah,
I've never even heard of that. We might have to
By Taco Bell.
We might have to try it next time.
It's by Waffle House and Taco Bell. Yeah.
I nothing against, actually everything against Olive Garden. As an Italian from the state of New York, I'm offended that you said Olive Garden is the best place to eat in Blacksburg.
That's like home to me. Like if I'm wanting like a home meal, that's like closest I'm gonna get.
Fair enough, I
I want to
guess.
feel
Well, that's
like
like
I'm
you
back in
saying
San Antonio.
Elrod's is the best,
But like
Next to
Elrod's
you.
isn't even
Nothing's
like a
comparing
chain.
to Tex-Mex.
Yeah,
though.
so that's what I was saying. Like, she's from Texas, so she can
I think
judge
Tex-Mex,
Elrod's appropriately.
and then I
Fair.
think Elrod's. So it's like
Interesting. Nothing like homemade Italian food. All right. Where's the toughest? I mean, you haven't really played in the ACC, but you experienced some crazy crowds last year. Where was, in your eyes, the toughest place to play within the conference? Like NC State was packed. Carolina was packed.
I'd say Duke. I don't think NC State was packed, but it didn't feel that way.
Because y'all were up 20.
Sorry, NC State, but yeah, it didn't feel like any tension, anything like that. UNC is always tough. Like, obviously, that's kind of like our rivals. I'd say Duke, though. I'd say that just because they're behind the bench, like, their stands around the court are, like, so packed. And if you're on the sidelines, they're, like
Camera
I'd say-
crazies.
Yeah, like, I'd say Duke.
Do you like playing on the road or at home more? Would you
Oh.
rather silence a crowd or hype up a crowd?
I'd say home. I think, yeah, Hokie Nation's like top 2. Not 2, top 2, not 2. I feel like a lot of people could like say that's probably one of the toughest crowds to play in front of. Because when we get hype, we get hype.
Gets rolling in the old barn.
Put it on a t-shirt, Triumph. Top 2, not 2. That's
Yeah,
Carleigh
that's-
Wenzel's trademark.
That's me. I said that.
Not Drake. Carleigh.
I usually don't even say that. So the fact that I've said that like 3 times right here is like crazy.
What else you got, Nick?
All right. 5 seconds left on the game clock. Who are you passing it or are you shooting it?
In 4 years, I'm going to shoot it. Right now, I'm giving it to whoever's open. Liz, Kayla, or G. They could all take the shot.
It's a fair answer.
They all got it. I would trust any of them with the ball in their hands, game online.
All right, let's end it with a good one here. How do you want to be remembered?
What? That's like a crazy question for on the spot. As in what context? Like hooping?
As in 15 years from now, when you're gone, you know, what kind of a legacy do you want to leave here, whether it's on or off the court, when Virginia Tech fans think of you and your time here at Tech?
I definitely want to be one of the greats to come through Tech. I feel like I have the platform to do so. But person-wise, I want people to, like, if they meet me, I want to put a positive impact on them. I don't want them to be, like, iffy about my character or anything like that. I want to be viewed as a good character person who works hard and does everything with full respect, I guess you could say. I feel like I want to be viewed as respectful and hardworking.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad I wore pink today because it's Carleigh's favorite color. Nick, how about this? High Point, Monday, November 6th, 5 p.m. inside Castle Coliseum. You ready, my man?
I'll be there.
I'll be there too.
I can't wait. You can check out Carleigh Wenzel on November 6th inside Castle Coliseum. It's going to be a fun one, a doubleheader as well to open up this season. Well, thanks so much for joining us on this week's edition of the Triumph Spotlight. For Carleigh Wenzel, for Nick Brown, for Will Stewart, I'm Giovanni Heater saying so long, and we'll see you next week.